Welcome to Video 2, Increasing Magnitude. There's so much to understand about how numbers work. When children subitize, they are focused on seeing the cardinal amount of a set, the threeness of 3. When they turn their attention to meaningful and accurate counting, they learn to coordinate a complicated set of principles so they can confidently describe the same kind of cardinal amount for even larger sets. In this video, we turn attention to the development of children's mental number list and show you how comparison processes can help. Well before they can count, young children can make meaningful comparisons of amounts. That is, they can choose the plate with 7 cookies instead of the plate with 4 cookies, even if they cannot yet count to 4, let alone 7. The first key instructional practice in this module is to make this kind of comparison explicit by prompting children to compare subitizable or obviously different-sized collections using more than, fewer than, and same number as. Module 3 begins with a routine you can use to help children become clear about how pairs of numbers are related to each other. In bigger, smaller, equal, children use their bodies to indicate their understanding of these relationships, stretching and growing their body to indicate when a number is bigger, and folding and shrinking their body to indicate when a number is smaller. They can also use gestures and voices to indicate these relative amounts. By combining these experiences with the more than, fewer than, and same number as language, children connect these phrases to their bodily experiences and become clear on their meaning. Once you're sure children understand the meanings of more than, fewer than, and same number as, and have begun to apply this thinking to numbers, it's a great time to introduce a new tool, a cardinality chart. In this chart, each number is represented by a column of dots. The columns mirror the counting sequence, increasing by 1 dot from left to right, and this creates a clear picture of growth. Through this chart, the numbers themselves are organized to allow you to see that 8 is more than 7 with just a glance. The large group activity in this module provides a fun and interactive way to introduce a cardinality chart in your classroom. By familiarizing children with a story in which a set grows by 1 each time, this activity builds a visual display that makes that growth clear. This story-based activity ensures that your students have a meaningful understanding of what the chart represents. The cardinality chart will help you implement the second key instructional practice. Help children discover the increasing magnitude principle, that the later a number word appears in the counting sequence, the larger the quantity it represents. By looking at the chart together and getting familiar with what it represents, your students will begin to generalize the idea that the sequence of the counting numbers is not arbitrary, but depicts growth, that as you move forward through the sequence, the amounts get gradually larger, which is the central meaning of the increasing magnitude principle. The cardinality chart will also help you implement the next key instructional practice. Encourage children to apply the increasing magnitude principle to compare collections more precisely by counting. To help children build up to using counting to make meaningful comparisons, it is best to begin with a global more or less comparison. Then, suggest that we count each set to see how many each one has. So looking at a plate of 3 cookies and a plate of 5 cookies, you begin by all agreeing that the plate of 5 has more. Then you count each set, determining that one plate has 3 cookies and the other has 5. Then, to make the comparison between the amounts even more clear, you use the chart to count the 3 cookies, saying, "Let's count the 3 cookies here on the chart." Pointing to each numeral and column of dots as you go, you arrive at the total amount and name the set as 3 cookies. Then, you use the chart to count the set of 5 cookies in the same manner. As you do this repeatedly, children will begin to notice that when there are more, we always have to count longer, going farther along the sequence of number words. Children may notice that in the first case, you stopped on 3, but in the second case, you must go further to get to the total amount. Over time, this will deepen their understanding of the increasing magnitude principle and its relationship to the counting words. The first section of the developmental progression for comparing and labeling magnitudes counting-based comparisons, is explicitly connected to these first 3 instructional practices. The different steps children typically move through as they develop the ability to use counting to make comparisons are all there. It shows us that children as young as 2 can compare sets and know which is more when the amounts are small and perceptually subitizable, or if the difference between the 2 sets is large. Around age 3, most children can use more, fewer, and same language appropriately. It takes them a bit longer to be able to use counting, remember the 2 set sizes, and use that information to determine which is larger and which is smaller. But most get there before age 6. These 3 key instructional practices, using more than, fewer than, and same number as, helping children see that the amounts increase as we go up through the number word sequence, and showing them how counting can be used to precisely compare 2 sets of different sizes, help create the foundations of a useful mental number list. In the next video, we explore practices that help children make that list even more flexible and precise, so they can use it to help them think mathematically.